What up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is Saturday, and on the schedule we have the first test for sub 3 prep. So as you guys know, if you guys don't know, I'm gonna allow ChatGPT to program this sub 3 marathon prep. So the first recommendation it had was to get a baseline, and that's what we're gonna do today. So we gotta hit a half marathon test, and from the research that I've done, the time needs to be pretty fast, and I don't feel like I'm gonna be anywhere near that today, which is okay. It's not great, but it's okay because I know I've been training, aerobic zone 2 for the past year. So just off of what I've been training at, when we're going zone 2 in Ironman prep and we're training long distances, I'm usually hitting the 13 miles around an hour and 52 to about 2 hours. So, and that's chilling in zone 2. So today we're gonna push it. We're gonna see what time we can get. My guess, I don't know, between maybe 135 and 140, maybe faster. I don't know. It really just depends how I feel. But I did watch a video, and they say that you should be at a 126, and that's not gonna happen, but the goal is to get there. And if we can get to a goal where we're comfortably hitting a 126 half marathon, then I'll be right on pace to hit a sub 3 marathon in February. So that's the plan. We're gonna go see where we're at right now, give it our best shot, and then use that baseline to build the program. So let's go. I'm gonna try to hold between like a 7 and 7:30 pace for as long as I can. Let's go. Mile 1, 7:21.
I don't know.
It's gonna be hard. Mile 2, 7:37. Mile 3, 7:55. Mile 4, 7:59. Mile 5, 8 minutes. Mile 6, 7:58. Mile 7, 8 minutes. Mile 8, 8:05. Mile 9, 8:04. Mile 10, 8:11. Mile 11, 8:13. We're gonna try to go sub 8 the last two. Mile 12, 8:01. Mile 13, 7:53. 7:57 pace. Oh man, we got so much work to do. That was everything I had. Fuck. Let's go program this shit. Time to get to work. Alright, we are back. Now we gotta program this sub 3 prep. The results are in. We did a half marathon in an hour and 44 minutes. It was a 7:57 pace. Average power was 351 watts. And average heart rate was 166. So really hard test, a lot harder than I expected. I think that I underestimated how much zone 2 training I did with Ironman prep and how much that untrains you for speed and strength. So it was a very humbling test, but those are my results. I gave the best effort that I could, and now we're gonna ask ChatGPT what it thinks. I'm gonna give it as much notes as possible, as much data as possible. For the programming, I have some notes of just some research that I've done. So I'm gonna ask it that it must include a couple workouts into the programming. One being threshold intervals at zone 4 to zone 5 at 95% to 105% of threshold. And then I also want it to include marathon tempo running, 6.2 miles or more in zone 3, and then progressive long runs. Also, I wanted to include Ironman maintenance workouts, and then I'm gonna give it my numbers for my bike, my average watts, and then my average swim time. So other than that, and the last thing is strength training. So I'm going to give it specific instructions for strength training programming. I want to get stronger on the bike, obviously. I want to get faster in the swim. And most importantly, I want to get faster and stronger on the run for the marathon. So we'll see what we get. But yeah, let's give it a shot. All right, I'm back with the half marathon test results.
Welcome back. I'm eager to hear about it. What was your time and how did the run feel overall?
Time was 1 hour and 44 minutes. Average pace was 7:57 mile average pace. Average power was 351 watts. Average heart rate was 166. And the run felt really hard. My legs didn't feel strong muscularly. Felt like I was having a hard time turning over quicker than I was trying. And then overall, the test felt a lot harder than I was expected.
1 hour and 44 minutes is a solid time, and it sounds like you gave it a strong effort. Your average pace and heart rate suggest that you were working hard, especially if it felt more challenging than expected. The feeling of your legs not being strong could be due to several factors. It could be residual fatigue from previous workouts, not enough recovery, or even the day's nutrition and hydration status. It's also possible that the Ironman training is still in your legs, which can take a while to fully recover from. Given that the test felt harder than anticipated, it's important to make sure you're allowing adequate recovery in your training. Muscular endurance and turnover will improve with targeted workouts and rest. Now, with this baseline, we can work on building your running strength, fine-tuning your pace, and ensuring that your marathon training supports your goal while keeping an eye on your recovery and overall triathlon conditioning. Would you like to discuss what the next steps in your training could look like?
Yeah, I want to start to build out a 13-week program that is going to help me achieve all these goals.
Absolutely. Let's lay the groundwork for your 13-week program. Since your main goal is the sub-3 marathon while maintaining fitness for Ironman, we'll focus primarily on running with cycling and swimming to support overall endurance and recovery. Weeks 1 to 4, base building. Increase your weekly mileage by about 10% each week. Include 1 long run per week, gradually lengthening. Add in 1 day of interval training to improve speed. Swim and cycle once or twice a week for active recovery and maintaining fitness. Weeks 5 to 8, intensifying training. Introduce a 2nd day of speed work or hill training. Continue to extend your long run. Begin to incorporate marathon pace runs to get used to the goal pace. Maintain swimming and cycling sessions for balance and recovery. Weeks 9 to 11, peak mileage and race preparation. Reach your longest long run by week 10. No longer than 3 hours to avoid overtraining. Fine-tune your marathon pace during midweek runs. Swim and cycle workouts can now be more about maintenance and less about building endurance. Weeks 12 to 13, tapering. Gradually reduce your mileage while maintaining some intensity. Keep your body moving with light swimming and cycling sessions. Focus on recovery, sleep, nutrition, and mental preparation. Throughout the program, make sure you have at least 1 rest day per week. Recovery is when your body gets stronger, so don't underestimate its importance. And keep in mind, your plan may need to be flexible based on how your body is responding to the training. Would you like to delve into the specifics of any part of the training, like particular workouts or how to manage your swim and cycle sessions?
Yes. So some of the workouts that must be included in this program are: number 1, threshold intervals. Zone 4 to zone 5 heart rate at 95% to 105% of threshold. Also, I need marathon tempo running with 6.2 miles or more in zone 3. And then I need incorporated progressive long runs, bottom up and top down. And then also I want to include the maintenance workouts for the Ironman. And my specific bike numbers is 200 watts is my FTP, and my current swim average is 1 minute and 30 seconds per 100 yards.
Got it. Let's incorporate these specifics into your training. Your program will have key workouts tailored to improve your threshold, tempo running, and long run endurance, while also keeping your Ironman maintenance in check. Threshold intervals. Once a week, integrate intervals at your threshold pace. Start with shorter intervals, e.g. 4 by 5 minutes, and build up to longer ones, e.g. 2 by 20 minutes. Recovery between intervals should be about 1/3 the duration of the interval. Marathon tempo runs include a weekly tempo run at marathon pace, starting at 6.2 miles. Gradually increase the distance of these tempo runs as training progresses. These should be in heart rate zone 3, focusing on a controlled, sustained effort. Progressive long runs, every other week, alternate between bottom up and top down progressive long runs. Bottom up, start at an easy pace and gradually increase to finish at or near marathon pace. Top down, start at marathon pace and slowly decrease the pace to finish easy. This approach helps improve your body's ability to shift gears and manage different paces. Ironman maintenance workouts. For cycling, incorporate a weekly session focused on maintaining your FTP at 200 watts. Your swim workouts should maintain your pace of a minute and 30 seconds per 100 yards, with sessions focusing on both technique and endurance. With your swim and bike sessions, ensure they're scheduled on days that allow for recovery from your key run workouts, likely after your threshold intervals or the day after a long run. The balance is critical to prevent overtraining and ensure you're progressing in all 3 disciplines. Do these workout components sound like they align with your goals and give you a clear path forward for your training?
Yes.
Fantastic. You're on the right track with a structured approach that targets all the necessary areas. Remember to listen to your body as you go through this program and adjust as needed based on how you're responding to the training. Stay consistent and your hard work is going to pay off. Keep up the dedication, and here's to strong and successful training weeks ahead. If you have any more questions down the line or need further guidance, feel free to reach out. Enjoy your training.
Cool. So that was crazy. I was not expecting it to understand what bottom up and top down progressive long runs was, but it knew exactly what it was. So the next thing I'm going to do is, instead of talking to it like that, I'm going to hop on the computer and I'm going to get exact workouts with exact pacing from weeks 1 all the way through weeks 13. And then I'm also going to do the same thing for the strength training program. So I'm just going to do that on the computer, and then I'll show you guys what results I come up with, and I'll print that out and I'll have that on a spreadsheet, and that'll be the plan that we go off of for this training program. We finally got the programs all set and ready to go. Looks good, man. Everything looks good. We've got the run program right here. We're gonna do weeks 1 through week 6. Then we're gonna test for the half marathon again. And then from that point, it will go from week 6 to week 13, leading to race day. So that's the plan with the run. I was able to create a strength program as well. I'm not gonna show you the details of like how I got to this point because it takes a lot of iteration. I can explain to you guys like how I did it, but as far as like, it's not me just typing in something or saying something and then I get the answer. It's, having some logic of what I kind of want something to look like, give it that information, and then start building off of that. It's not going to be perfect right away. You can say, like, this isn't quite what I was looking for. I want something a little bit more in depth. I want specific numbers. And with a certain amount of iterations, you get a final result that I'm pretty happy with. So everything looks good. So just some of the iterations that I had it make was, the first program, it looked really good, but it wasn't enough miles. So just with research, I see that training for a sub 3 marathon, you want to be in the 40 to 70 mile range weekly. So I had to iterate that and say, like, I need to build up mileage 40 to 70. So I had to reiterate that, Another change I had made was kind of like what I explained before. Was the research I have done is there was a specific video where this guy, I believe he's a sub-3 marathon coach, but he was talking about the importance of 2 workouts, and I had mentioned that before. There was marathon pace tempo workouts, and then there's also threshold workouts. So in his opinion, those were the 2 most important workouts that needed to be in marathon training for sub 3. So I had ChatGPT saying that I must include those workouts weekly. The other thing he had mentioned was long runs being top down or bottom up, meaning I'll show you an example of a top down long run. So what that would look like is a warm up 20 minute easy run, and then for the main working sets, start at 8:30 per mile for 4 miles, then drop 10 seconds per mile every subsequent 4 miles. Last 4 miles at 7:50. So every 4 miles I drop down to 8:20, 8:10, 8, and 7:50. So that would be an example of a top-down long run. Pretty intense, but necessary for the training. So we gave it as much information as possible. I gave it my bike numbers, I gave it my swim numbers. It knows that my main goal for 2024 is a 10-hour Ironman, so it's got that in mind. I've given it like my maintenance numbers right now. I like what I see, and we're gonna run with this and just see how I develop. And yeah, we'll check back in at the end of the 6 weeks. I'll take you through each week and kind of what it gives me, and then we'll go with the strength training as well, and we'll just kind of trust it and see what it gives us. So hopefully it's spot on. Hopefully it's perfect. There may be, if I feel like I'm not progressing, then I may make some iterations. I may, switch it up if I have to. But just from my knowledge and what I've seen, it looks pretty solid right now. And I think this is a good foundation. And really just hoping that these next 6 weeks I make major progress, because for sub 3 and where I'm at right now, it's not favorable. So if I can test in 6 weeks and run that half marathon again, and if I could do it like at a 7 to a 7:10 pace, that puts me in pretty good shape by next February to be at that marathon pace for a marathon, 6:50 for a marathon. Then I think we'd be in good shape. I think if we test again in 6 weeks and I'm only like a 7:30, 7:20, I think that's like kind of pushing it a little bit. So, we're just going to put in the consistent work, see where we end up. I really think once I get into the strength training routine again, I think my fast twitch muscle fibers are going to come right back, and I think that's going to speed up my run quite a bit. So I've had times in the past where I'm running 6-7 miles and I'm holding like a 6:40, 6:50 pace. So I know it's in my body. It's been a full year of just aerobic zone 2 slow workouts, slow runs, just trying to stay in zone 2. So I've kind of just unlearned the snappiness, fast twitch muscle fibers. So I just need to crank those back up. I still have my aerobic base, and I think everything's going to mesh together nicely. So that's the plan. Pumped about it. Today's a rest day. So week 1, Monday, rest day. I'm going to spin for 60 minutes on the bike right now. And then our first run is actually tomorrow morning. So that's the plan. I'm excited for this AI sub 3 prep. Should be a fun journey. And, let's see if ChatGPT can get us to a sub 3 marathon. See you guys in the next video. Peace.